Blue Heron, a movie directed by Sophy Romvari, is now in theaters. This is a new little indie movie that I saw this weekend that blew my mind. All right, let me give you the plot synopsis, because I'm sure a lot of people have not heard of this movie yet. In the late 1990s, a family of six settles into their new home on Vancouver Island as internal dynamics are slowly revealed through the experiences of the youngest child, Sasha. Their fresh start is interrupted by the increasingly dangerous behavior of Jeremy, the family's oldest child. Okay, fine. Seems, seems fairly standard indie movie. And for the first hour of this 91-minute movie, hour or so, it's pretty normal. Some things happen. This family of five, they struggle to move into their home. They adapt to their new life that it seems like has been created because one of the parents' job has relocated them there. They go to the beach, they have fun, they watch cartoons, they play in the yard, they bounce on the trampoline. All of that is happening, and it's well done stuff. It's filmed very competently. I wouldn't say it's on the edge of your seat thrilling. The score never really picks up or anything. There's not too many big emotional moments, other than a couple that kind of get you on the edge of your seat. It's all just very well done. It's very calm and relaxed and innocent is how I would describe it. All the while, every now and then we're seeing just little spots and spurts of the oldest child, Jeremy, being very much a loner, being very defiant but quiet, defiant of his parents, defiant of any authority. When it's time for the family to get in the car to go somewhere, Jeremy just doesn't get in the car. So his mom drives away and then comes back a little bit. And then Jeremy gets in the car, very defiant. Doesn't really talk back to them necessarily that we see, because, every single scene through the first hour is more or less through the eyes of young Sasha, who's, 7 or 8 or 9 years old probably in this movie. And it's very well done. Again, it shows an innocence to these scenes because, again, we're viewing it from a child's perspective. They're running through the sprinklers, they're throwing water balloons or what have you. And all the while, Jeremy's kind of just hanging out. He's having fun with them sometimes. Other times, he's just ignoring them. And then there's these couple weird moments of him acting out that we see, again, basically through Sasha, of he's standing on the roof or he's punching a window and his hand is bleeding and he's walking along the gutter of the roof or whatever. And, it seems like he's thinking about jumping, or maybe he's not. Maybe he's just up there because he wants to be. And, he's causing mayhem. However, the mayhem and the ruckus is basically never dealt with in the movie because we're viewing it through the eyes of his really younger sister, and the parents kind of just deal with it, and we don't really see the consequences or the repercussions. We do see one scene where Sasha is kind of peering through the window of Jeremy's bedroom with his dad whenever he's giving him a hard time, and he's trying to console him and comfort him and bring him down, kind of back down to earth a little bit. And I thought that was a very touching scene and really well done. But what I've described is nothing groundbreaking, really. It's, we've seen little indie movies of a family experience, basically, where, some people are kind of weird. And, I'm viewing it through the eyes of a child. So it's the world is okay and it's very innocent and yada yada. But then, about an hour in, maybe closer to 65 minutes, give or take, there is a scene after we basically overhear, because again, we're basically Sasha, we overhear some discussions between the parents about, what to do with Jeremy. The parents fear for the kids' lives. Now, we kind of learn this after the fact, but at the time, there's threats to burn down the house or, threats of physical violence. And when we're viewing it through Sasha, it almost seems like that is never, ever going to happen. That Jeremy is quite chill around Sasha and even, the other kids, her older brothers, Jeremy's younger brothers. Like, the threat of violence never really seems to be there through their eyes, but through the parents' eyes, who he has told, like, hey, I'll burn the house down with everyone in it. Like, then it's very clearly shown, but we don't see that until later because There's a scene. All the kids are in a bedroom watching TV. There's a scene with a social worker that comes to the house, talks to the parents. We basically overhear that the social worker's recommendation is to basically rehome Jeremy, voluntarily give him up so he can get the help that he needs. Let him live in a foster home or a foster care facility that can better treat his needs. And it seems like his needs are, maybe OCD, ADD, what have you. Things are not great. So that scene happens, and it's fine. It's a good scene. It's, you hear it. Sasha overhears it. She kind of like creaks the door open, and you hear it. It's good stuff. Good. Heavy spoilers, by the way. And then we have like a hard cut to a filmmaker, a woman filmmaker who is talking about Jeremy's case in the past. It already happened. And she's doing almost like a focus group kind of documentary style of how would you handle Jeremy's case today? Clearly she's talking to like a handful of professionals, professional social workers or psychologists or psychiatrists about, what do you do with this kid today? And, they're giving opinions, and this filmmaker, documentarian, what have you, is taking notes and, reading the case to give them more perspective. And it's made somewhat clear, like almost right away, that this is older Sasha now. We're with older Sasha, who has grown up to be a filmmaker or a documentarian, something like that. And that's all. That's cool. That she's clearly like researching, her brother's case. We do find out that Jeremy has passed. We don't know how necessarily. We assume it's some sort of overdose or drug accident, or he might have even taken his own life. It's unclear, but something happened. Jeremy has passed, and then she's in her apartment. She's chilling. Then all of a sudden, we are more or less, we cut to the social worker scene, and the social worker in this scene this time is Sasha. The older Sasha, the filmmaker. I'm like, what? This isn't a sci-fi movie. We're not time traveling here. Why is Sasha the one talking to her parents? Sasha shows up at the door of the house. The parents don't recognize her. The dad shakes her hand and says, "Hello, nice to meet you. You must be the social worker." It's very odd at first. It's very jarring. This is when I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like, what is going on here? I don't think I'm here for like a sci-fi. And then it becomes more or less clear, maybe not right away, but eventually, becomes clear that because of the amount of research and reliving that Sasha has done, she is more or less replaying these scenes in her own head. She's reliving these memories through her adult eyes and thinking about what she would have said to her parents in this meeting, or how she would have handled Jeremy differently compared to how she tolerated him as a kid. And she's reliving these memories through different perspective, through different eyes. And the whole grand scheme of this movie is like how children's memories and even adult memories are, not necessarily unreliable, but just like not always the truth, not always correct. And how memory is this funny thing that, nostalgia blinds us all. We look back at the good times and we think, man, to be in high school again, to be in middle school or elementary school again. And then you relive those things as an adult. You see maybe your kids or other people's kids doing the same thing that you were doing, or you think on the times where, maybe there was a struggle going on when you were a kid and you didn't even realize it. And the memories become much more filled with melancholy. They become sadder. It's a very real thing, I think, that most people experience, where, maybe the past seemed great at the time, and maybe it was actually, but then when you relive or rethink of these memories, looking at them as an adult, you realize that, not everything was perfect. It was very hard at times even. And it is told so beautifully in this movie. there's a couple lines where Sasha, as the social worker, is talking to her parents and is saying, like, here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to try so hard for us, and no one's going to realize it, and it's going to break you down, and it's going to haunt you for the rest of your lives. You're eventually going to give up Jeremy. You're going to rehome him, and it's going to suck, and you're going to hate yourselves for it, but you also don't know what to do because you also tried your best, but you feel like you failed, so maybe it feels like you didn't try your best, even though you know you did, and so on and so forth. And it is devastating. It is really, really good stuff. So that scene happens. The social worker scene happens again. I'm blown away at this point. It hits you so hard because I don't know why it hits you so hard, because I guess because it's so jarring in a good way, where it's not confusing. It leaves you, it starts you out kind of wondering, like, what the heck is happening, and then I think quickly enough you pick up on what you're actually seeing, which is just, kind of again reliving the memories. Then it cuts to another scene eventually with adult Sasha, a filmmaker, and teenage Jeremy, the one that we've seen the whole movie, on the beach. They're walking on the beach, the same beach that we saw earlier in the movie that the family visited when Sasha was a little kid. And they're walking along the beach, hanging out. And again, it's very, for people that liked After Sun, which I'm one of them, I would say I liked it. I probably didn't love it as much as other people. It's very After Sun-y, where it is very sad, but also fulfilling almost, I would say, where Sasha and Jeremy are kind of talking, and Sasha is talking to him about, people have reached out about you, here's someone that messaged me on Facebook about you, and said, like, he wasn't really my friend, but I could tell that he was a good guy, basically, more or less, whatever. And Jeremy kind of just sits there and is just, there for Sasha until there's one zoom in on Sasha looking at her phone, looking at either messages about Jeremy or something about Jeremy, and then camera zooms back out. Jeremy's not really there. She's just on the beach by herself, grieving, it seems like, more or less. Grieving or again, going through the memories, memorializing him, perhaps, trying to realize, like, what was going on at that time, that, she was just an innocent child viewing the world through, rose-tinted glasses, when there was very much, real pain and hardship going on 5 feet away from her. And when you're a kid, you just can't really tell about that stuff. You don't really know it until you look back at it as an adult and you're like, wow, the times were different and I didn't really realize it. But yeah, it is, this is my favorite movie of the year so far. Pretty easily, I'd say. I wouldn't say 2026 has been a rocking year for movies so far, but this blew me away. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't really. It's one of those things where I'm like, I didn't know you could do this with a movie. Didn't know you could tell stories like this. And I'm surprised I was able to get 10, 11, 12 minutes out of this, because I feel like I could talk about this movie forever. And also, I'm just like, what do you say about this thing? This is like so, I don't know if devastating is the right word, but it just hits you so hard. Like, it's crazy. I couldn't believe it. The back 25, 30 minutes, there are some shots that are just like, not tearjerk. I didn't cry, but like, it chokes you up, man. It chokes me up for sure. A wonderful movie. I could not believe how good this thing was. Yeah, go see Blue Heron in theaters if you're a fan of the kind of, not necessarily slower indie, but you do got to get through the first hour of just kind of like, what's going on here exactly? We're kind of just hanging out with this family, and then that last half hour hits, and whoo boy, different animal. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this review. Go see Blue Heron in theaters, and I hope to review more movies very soon when I see them. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks. Goodbye.